Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun. A very cold day here at MetLife Stadium as the Giants fall to the visiting Washington Commanders 29-21. Shaun, it's the Giants' 8th straight loss this season. What was your biggest takeaway from this one today?
Yeah, Madelyn, another tough loss. And again, where it felt like the Giants beat themselves again. They found ways to lose this game. But as we all woke up this morning and we found that there was a winter wonderland outside, and of course the wind is howling right now still here in the stadium. And it looked like a day that they're just, hey, you're just going to ground and pound. You're going to run the ball. But yet Jackson Dart still lit it up, 36 passes. I think the biggest takeaway from this game, obviously you hate to lose a game, but Jackson Dart showed exactly the type of quarterback that he could be. I thought he pulled out some new throws today that we really haven't seen from him all season. And he was willing this team back into the game with some spectacular play. He made some nice lob throws. He had a lot of touch today, which normally you think in a windy day you got to drive the ball and you got to throw fastballs and cut the wind. But he had a lot of really good throws today that he just kind of dropped in the bucket. And I think he showed another part of his game. And when you look at what he was able to do offensively, look, he kept this team in the game. And I thought he made some big-time throws. Theo Johnson had some really nice catches. He had a monster game. And he and Wan'Dale Robinson just continued to be on the same page. So we knew it was going to be a defensive struggle. Both defenses are struggling to stop either team today, especially on the ground.
But the Giants did, Jackson Dart, we did see a lot of evolution from him as he continues to evolve as a young player. The Giants did claw their way back into this one and start to kind of create a comeback late in this game. As we take a look at Jackson Dart's numbers today, 2 defensive takeaways in the fourth quarter, giving the offense another couple of looks late in the game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to close the gap. Now, Shaun, this is the 3rd game we've seen under Mike Kafka as interim head coach. And one of the things that I think stands out when you look at the way that this team is playing when he's coaching, we're seeing a lot of interesting formations, a lot of unique plays, some gadgetry. What are you noticing about the way the Giants are playing under interim head coach Mike Kafka?
Well, you could tell that he loves using the tight ends. I mean, there was a drive in this game where Theo Johnson and I think Bellinger caught 3 passes in a row consecutively. So you could tell that they love the 2 tight end formations, and they're definitely adding some different wrinkles. It doesn't feel stale at all. It doesn't feel like they're just running the same plays over and over again. So he's packaging them differently. I think they're doing a great job with the crossing routes. That was working today, and you could tell that Jackson Dart was kind of getting into a rhythm and getting into a vibe. I think just offensively there was too many times early on in this game. They start out the first 3 possessions, they missed a field goal, there's 3 and out, and next you're down 10-0. And this team is just not built to come from behind and all of a sudden be one-dimensional. But I think when you look at offensively, 3rd down is still that is our Achilles heel. We cannot find a way to convert. I think we converted 2 third downs all game long. That's just not good enough.
Yeah, 2 for 12 the Giants were. The Commanders, though, also 3 for 11 on 3rd down. It wasn't like the Commanders were playing exceptional today.
No, I don't feel like the Washington did anything that we couldn't really stop. I mean, look, the run game, we knew they were going to lean on that a lot. I think defensively, the turnovers, Abdul Carter got a nice sack, had a really nice tackle for a loss. There were some big plays. Brian Burns made a big play. I think ultimately, the interception that Jackson Dart threw earlier on in the game, that hurt. Going for it there on 4th down, it was incomplete. That almost looked like another interception, but he was trying to make something happen. I think those plays really came back to haunt them. And obviously special teams. This is 2 weeks in a row now. Special teams has given up a touchdown, and you're not going to win a lot of games when you're giving up a punt return for a touchdown. And 2 weeks in a row now, that has been a huge, huge killing play.
Yeah, giving up a punt return for a touchdown, the missed field goal opportunities, missed opportunities for this team throughout were kind of the fabric of this game. But let's get another perspective on what we saw today. Let's send it down to the field. Paul Dottino and Brandon London. Guys, what did you see?
Yeah, there's no doubt that the final 2 minutes of the first half have been a problem for the Giants all year long. Coming into today, they had allowed 62 points in the final 2 minutes of a first half combined. That was 27th in terms of defensive rankings in the league. Washington, over the same time period, only allowed a total of 26 points, second best defense in that situation. And what happened today? The Giants give up a punt return for a touchdown. They turn the ball over. They give up a field goal. 9 points for Washington, and now it's 22-7 at halftime. What impact does that have have on the game?
The middle four is what we call it. Is probably the most 4 important minutes in football. The last 2 minutes of the first half, the first 2 of the second half. If you're an offense, if you can't score points, you do not want to put the opposing defense or that offense in position to where they can score points. Now let's look at what happened and what was the cause of that, Paul, that 9 points. Instead of the 2 turnovers at the end of the game of the defense, you're not trying to score to tie it up. You may be in a position to score to win a football game instead. Absolutely killed the Giants today.
You could see the emotions really deflated there at halftime. All right, let's talk about the wind conditions. Crazy wind today. At times it was impactful, at other times not. For example, 2 missed field goals, a missed extra point, also a line drive punt that was returned for a touchdown by Washington, and accuracy issues periodically throughout the day. It was tricky.
Yeah, that's why Coach Coughlin used to take us outside no matter the weather. We would ideally want to be in that bubble back in the day, but you want to get used to these conditions as much as possible. You remember how Eli was when he used to throw it up to Plaxico Burress and Amani Toomer. By getting outside and getting acclimated to the wind and the weather, those guys were able to have EBT, elite ball tracking. So we saw some of it today in terms of the good, but we also saw the bad and some drops. And again, it's something else that cost the Giants with a win.
How about we go inside?
Yeah, your nose is kind of runny right now, Paul.
Let's go back upstairs to you guys.
Now you guys are just showing off. We'll be out here all hour, Shaun and I, just being tough. We got the little space heater standing by. Paul Dottino, Brandon London, thanks so much for the insight. Go warm up as we take a quick timeout and remind you that guests of our post-game show receive a gift certificate to Ben and Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben and Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. We've got more to come on the show. Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, rolls on. Interim head coach Mike Kafka to the podium after this quick break. Stay with us. It's time for today's scoring drive of the game, brought to you by Citizens. With Scoring Drive, we bring you to the third quarter. 7 plays, 82 yards, capped by an 18-yard receiving touchdown by Tyrone Tracy Jr. Look at these photos from the Giants photographers here. What a catch.
Great grab, great throw.
Great grab, great throw. As a reminder, for every scoring drive this season, Citizens, the official bank of the Giants, will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work in the community. Tyrone Tracy with a rushing and receiving touchdown on the day as the Giants fall to the visiting Commanders 29-21. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn Burke here on set with the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara, the 2-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. Banksy, we got you on set. We got to talk defense.
Sure.
I want to talk about Abdul Carter. We saw him come out of the gate looking like he came to play today. Multiple tackles for loss. He had a sack. He was affecting the game. What did you notice from the young guy, especially after what we've seen from him in recent weeks?
I'm going to give him credit for asserting himself, but I also give these coaches credit because they created a plan for him. He wasn't stationary. They found matchups for him, and he did his part. So he went through a little bit of adversity, but he came out on the other side, committed to being better, and they committed to him, and they put him in position to make plays. And I think they only had him down for 3 tackles for loss. He had like 5 tackles for loss, a sack, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery. He was just stuffing the stat box, and I just think that's what they brought him here for. They created a plan to allow him to be the exciting player that he is. And I think you give both credit to the coaches, but to Abdul Carter for being, just stepping up and saying, hey, look, I need to fulfill my promise.
Yeah, he was a factor in this game. And, to your point, like, I felt like it was a bigger factor than the stats even tell you when you look at it, post-game. But I think for Abdul Carter, moving around was phenomenal because, he got that first strip sack against their rookie right tackle, Connerly, beats him off the edge and then swipes in. And then he got some production when Laramie Tunsil goes out, their left tackle. So now he's on the other side. And then we even saw him in the middle of the field, juking the center, Tyler Biotish. And that's where you get that guy in space, and now all of a sudden.
That's the most beautiful thing you can watch is Abdul Carter on an interior lineman. We saw it all during training camp.
Yeah.
I'm like, boy, if they put him in there, he's going to be hard to block because he's kind of an abracadabra type. But they got him in there, and he did exactly what we saw in camp from him.
Well, and you talk about putting him in a position to succeed. Also, this is the second game that we've seen from Charlie Bullen stepping up as the interim defensive coordinator. The defense had some different looks. They had a lot of 3 safety sets. The way that they were utilizing the pieces was a little bit different today, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a feel for it. Unfortunately, he's working with Fix-A-Flat, right? He didn't have a preseason or a training camp to install this stuff, so it's just like, put some Fix-A-Flat in here and see what we could get out of it. And then you got to make sure that the guys are still doing the fundamental stuff, like the Terry McCurlin seam route on split safety. It's a basic reroute, right? Don't let him have a free run, and he just ran right through your zone.
And then tackle him.
And then make a tackle, right?
If he catches it, you can still tackle him.
Yeah,
that was tough. And then even the tight end against Javon Holland. Obviously Zach Ertz went down last week with that grotesque injury, and Javon Holland kind of got turned around on that big play to the tight end. So definitely a couple of errors in coverage. We knew coming into this game that Washington was going to run the football. We knew that was what they were going to hang their hat on. And it just, I don't feel like they ran all over the defense, but there were definitely some big runs, and that has been plaguing us all year.
They were averaging 6.1 a carry, and it set up their play action pass, and they used it effectively against a team that started the game stopping the run, and then it just kind of fell back into what the trend was for them.
And the Commanders get the win, 29-21, snapping their 8-game losing streak and handing the Giants their 8th loss in a row. Giants fans, join the Giants family for the 2026 season with the season ticket membership. Scan the QR code on your screen to learn more and lock in your seats today. Or visit giants.com/tickets to secure your seats now. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Interim head coach Mike Kafka speaks next. Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn Burke alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara, the 2-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. The Giants hosting the Washington Commanders and falling 29-21 is the final score in favor of Washington. Before we continue to break this one down, let's send it down to the podium. Interim head coach Mike Kafka is stepping in to address the media. Let's listen to what he has to say.
All right. So looks like I don't think there's any injuries, major injuries that haven't been from the game, so came out pretty good there.
The play where Dart ended up going to the 10, was that a busted play?
No, it was, it was kind of a fake run, and he had a little pop pass there. Didn't like the look, so he just ate it and just tried to get back to line of scrimmage.
That's not one of the options, though? It's not like an option run, whereas one of the options is pitch or pop?
No, it's like you either throw it, it's either him or nobody. He didn't like the look or like the decision there, so he just tried to get back to line of scrimmage on the run, which we've talked about too. But it's not like a design run.
Did the officials make him go out? Is that kind of what happened there?
Yeah.
And they were checking that it was because of his neck, the way he bent.
I'm not sure what the reason what the officials said, but the official was the one that asked him to get evaluated. But he was fine.
The passing operation seemed a little off in the first half. Jackson was completing around 40-something% of his passes in the first 2 quarters. What was going on that Washington was doing that was kind of disrupting things?
I think we have to do a better job just executing some of those things. I can get some of the designs. I'll go back and look at the tape. Had some opportunities downfield, just missed, whether it was just overthrown or not caught. Some things I can go back and look at and see how we can continue to work our guys to get them open. But overall, just not clean. All 11 guys on offense, just coaches included, just being a little bit clearer in the pass game. But we'll go back and look at it and we'll get those things fixed.
Was there any explanation or what you see with John Michael Schmitz when he got the 15-yard penalty?
I asked for an explanation, and they said that it was like a headbutt, kind of this helmet-to-helmet type thing, so just got to be smart there. Obviously can't have those penalties. Those are big penalties, particularly when you're, down there in the low red zone. So, that's what they called.
Ultimately, what do you think the difference was today?
I'm sorry?
Ultimately, what was the difference today?
We just, as a group, as a team, we just didn't put one together. I think we had some individual good performance, good drives, good plays here and there. But you got to play a 60, versus that team, you got to play it for 60 minutes. And you got to be executing at a high level for 60 minutes. We made some plays, they made more at the end of the day. And so, I think our guys just got to keep on battling, keep on fighting. That's what we're going to need. That's what it's going to take to get over the hump and get a W.
What was the thought process? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
What was the thought process behind sending Koo after the first field goal attempt? I think it was early in the game. You guys decided to be aggressive. What was the thought process behind that?
To get points.
Did that affect sending him out there for that second field goal attempt for the 51-yard?
It didn't affect it. It didn't affect it. He was, inside our line that we had talked about. So I felt confident in Koo to go get it done.
Can you talk a little bit, Mike, about the special teams that they've led a punt return touchdown and then the 2 missed field goals as well? Yeah.
It's like, again, it's a team game, and so. The special teams had a couple of plays that I'm sure they'd like back. And, I'd say the same thing for offensively and defensively. We gave a big one on defense. On offense, we turned the ball over at the end of the half where we were kind of rolling. So, again, the team game, we all got to get cleaned up. We all got to do better. If we want to get a win, then all 3 units got to be firing on all cylinders. And that's really the name of the game. That's really where we all got to dig down deep and work to get better so that we can go get a W. Our coaches, our players, I saw the look in their eye when we broke it down just a few minutes ago. I think our guys are hungry for that W, and they want it, but we all got to put it together. Coaches, players, everyone's in it together to go do that.
In all your time in football, have you ever gone through a stretch of losses like this as a player, as an assistant coach anyway? Have you gone through this yourself, and if so, what do you take from that?
I haven't personally. But we're in it right now, and I think this is an opportunity for our team to learn from these opportunities, these situations, and grow and continue to grow. Because these situations a lot of times they kickstart something really great. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what I'm looking forward to this week of practice. See how our guys respond, and I know they'll respond the right way.
Mike. So Jackson had 63 yards on the ground. He left briefly for that 1-yard play. Going forward, what's the conversation surrounding being able to play his game, his style, his aggressive way of playing, and protecting himself as well? Yeah, no, we're not going to change much in terms of how we play the game. I think just having the designed a thought process for how we scheme it up. So I thought we had a couple opportunities where he's protected. He's got someone out in front of him. On that one particular play where he got out, that was a pass. I think there's not much you can really do there. But, of course, we have his health. We have everyone's health in mind when we call plays and we think about it. But it's one of his great strengths. And you saw it today in full color when he's out there scrambling and making huge plays with his feet. And he's an aggressive ball player, so we're not going to take away his stinger on that aspect. But he knows when he's a smart football player, and he knows when he needs to protect himself and when he needs to go and make a play. And I trust him to do that, and that's probably the most important thing. The guys on the field trust him to go do that. And so, as we've talked, through the weeks now with Jackson, this is a part of his game that I think makes him special. And as he continues to grow, I think he's making smart decisions. He took a couple slides today. It's part of that growth process, but that's one of the elite things he does in the National Football League.
How likely is it that the other quarterbacks will play?
Sorry, say that again.
How likely is it that you'll use the other quarterbacks?
Instead of Jackson? Jackson will roll as long as he's healthy, yes.
Gunner dealing with the concussion and the uncertainty that he was going to play this week. Why not call up one of the 2 return specialists that you guys have on the practice squad?
Yeah, we definitely had those conversations just late in the week where we had some other groups, other position groups that we were talking about, on the D line where we had some sicknesses and things like that. So we got a lot of trust in Holland to go back there and fair catch it, and actually had a couple nice returns for us. But it was certainly one of the discussion points that we had in the week.
What did you see from Abdul today?
Abdul played his tail off. It's no surprise he prepared that way, and that's how he addressed the week. He came in, I thought he played his butt off, fumble recovery, fumble return, had a couple plays in the backfield,
I mean, he was playing with his hair on fire today, so that's one step. He's got to keep on stacking those days. But really, without watching the tape yet, I thought he played his butt off.
The first time you bench, you end up having to bench him again 2 games later. How much different was the response this time in your eyes?
Yeah, you just see growth from the player. You see growth from him. He's taken accountability for it. He's learned from those things, and he's putting together a good week. You see, he's in here early, staying late, and trying to make himself a better player. But and he's helping the team, and that's what it's all about. He's not only just helping himself be prepped and ready for the game, but he's helping the unit. He's helping his group. He's helping the team be more productive, and everyone's doing that. You see guys in there early in the morning. When I'm walking around the building and I see guys in there studying, getting their body right, that's important, and that's you see a young player like Abdul doing that. He's taking that from somebody. Who is it? Oh, well, Brian Burns is in the building early. Dexter Lawrence is in the building early. Guys on offense, same thing. Young players, you see those guys in and around the building early, and and because it means something to them. So I think that's super important, and I think at the end of the day, that'll help get us the results we want.
Two more. No more?
Thanks, everyone.
That sound from interim head coach Mike Kafka is brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Guys, we heard Kafka saying, you know what, we made some plays, they made more. He said, I look around the locker room, I see it in the eyes of the players, the coaches, they're hungry for a win. We all, interact with and speak with the fan base and understand the frustrations of a fan base when, a losing streak like this happens. But Carl, as a player, I know in your career when you were in Washington, you went through a period like this. What's this experience like as a player?
It's difficult, especially if you're a competitor, right? And I had come there, I had gone to Washington from here after winning Super Bowls. It was foreign to me, right? And if you're a young player that's coming out of some of these SEC schools, this is foreign. You probably never lost as much your entire career. Like these kids from high school to college don't lose football games. And so this is different. And how you get out of it is just as important, right? Because you got to find a way. It's not new, and coaches are trying to figure it out, but it all starts with fundamentals, and situational awareness, self-discipline. Do your part, as they say. Do your part, and then the little details will happen for everybody.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges is you can't let yourself go numb, like our faces right now.
Absolutely.
You can't go numb to the losses. It has to still burn you, and it has to still kind of burn inside. And it's great to hear Mike Kafka talk about, look, I see it in the players' eyes, and you could see it out on the field. They're still competing, and look, every time it felt like the game was starting to slip away, Jackson Dart would go out there, and guess what? He would make a big throw, then make a big play, and he scored a touchdown, and you saw the fight come back into the team. So they kept fighting to try to get back into it. Again, the same thing that has plagued this team all season long, though, it's bad ball. The bad football. You're not going to win a game until you get rid of the bad ball. And that's one of the things that has bit them 2 weeks in a row now, or 2 games in a row, I should say, with the special teams blunders. You turn the ball over right before the half. Those kind of things are how you lose football games. So until you eliminate that, you're not going to get the feeling back in your face or your team.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely not going to get the feeling back in our face regardless. It's 20 degrees out here. But, when you talk about these football games are won and lost on such moments that are decided on a razor's edge, all these slight missed opportunities, how do you correct that when there's such narrow margins there?
Well, it's attention to detail, right? It's a 3rd and 3, you drop a ball. It's not okay, right? It's you're 1 score down, you drop one in the end zone. It's just not okay. He's not trying to drop it, right? It's not going out there saying, I'm going to drop this ball, but it's not okay, right? It's a pass interference where you could have played it better. It's just not okay. Big runs, 10 yards, 19 yards, 10 yards. At some point, you got to make a tackle, right? Those are the things. And even with your quarterback, the interception looks like the wide receiver ran the right route. Ball was thrown inside, right? Those things are not okay when you're trying to develop winning habits.
Developing winning habits is the goal for this Giants team as we take a quick time out, but remind you to download the all-new Giants mobile app for breaking news and exclusive videos updated with a brand new layout, plus the Giants Shorts feed and the Pockets Game Day Ticket Holders Hub. Download for free at the App Store or Google Play. Much more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. After the break, rookie Abdul Carter speaks to the media. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Time now for the HCL Player of the Game, brought to you by HCL Tech, supercharging progress, the official digital transformation partner of the New York Football Giants. Player of the Game, rookie linebacker Abdul Carter. 2 forced fumbles, 1 recovered, 7 tackles, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss, as number 51 making an impact in this game early. For more, let's send it down to the locker room where Abdul Carter is talking with our Paul Patino.
Abdul, a terrific game for you today. I believe, if I'm hearing correctly, the quote from Mike Kafka right now was, he played his butt off like his pants were on fire. What does that mean when your head coach says something like that to you in light of the lessons you've had to learn over the last few weeks?
Yeah, obviously I appreciate the message, but, you know, I feel like if we just got the win, it'd make it a lot better. So that's all I'm thinking about. Just I wish we got the win.
What was going right for you today?
Just doing my job, playing fast, playing hard. As simple as that. Nothing too much.
We had heard that during the week you had done a lot of extra study, film work, and so forth. That's a lot of questions. How much did some of that stuff apply to today's effort?
Yeah, it definitely helped a lot. Just, you know, watching film with the coaches, me coming in early, you know, talking to them, getting a head start in the week. It definitely helped me a lot.
And how much did some of the other guys on the defense help keep you focused and motivated this week to put forth the kind of game you did?
Yeah, they own me. So, you know, obviously some of the guys caught me out. You know, I had to step up. You know, I feel like I did that. But like I said, at the end of the day, I wish we got the win.
That's Abdul Carter with our Paul Patino. He's just the 3rd rookie in Giants history to have 2 forced fumbles in a single game. Guys, we were talking about this during the break. What we saw from Abdul Carter today, he needed a game like this, Carl.
Well, he did, and as you could hear, they had a plan for him. The coaches sat with him and watched film. It wasn't, hey, kid, you need to get in here and watch more film, because as a rookie, he doesn't know what he's looking for, right?
You don't know what you don't know.
And so to have those coaches sit with him and show him where his advantages will be during the course of a game if they call a certain thing, I thought that was big. And again, he responded to it, but the best answer he gave was, I wish we would have got a win.
Yeah, I love that he went there, and it was like it's not about me personally and my production. I want to win a football game, and like you said before, like a lot of these kids are used to winning in college. They're not used to losing games and losing 8 straight. So I think the good news for him is you have a game like this at home. Like, he definitely needed this. This was a kind of his breakout game, and given everything that's gone on, like, I think it's good for him to say, you know what, when you put in the time, all right, and you bear the fruits of all the work that you put in, all right, now that's the standard. Like, that's what it's got to be every single week. It can't just be a one-time thing. And I think he's learned that. But I love the production that he had, because it came from different angles. It came from different levels of play. You know, the one was on the pass rush. The other one was down the field. And, I mean, he looked like Bobby Okereke punching the ball out and ripping it out like that. So those are impactful plays, and those are plays that are going to win a football game for the Giants down the road.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the growth and the maturity and the youth of this Giants team. We give a lot of credit to the quarterback, Jackson Dart, but rookie Abdul Carter really maturing and growing into his own and having a great game today. Unfortunately, as Carter mentioned, if only it would have resulted in a win. The Giants fall to the Commanders 29-21. We're going to continue wrapping this one up. We'll hear from the quarterback, Jackson Dart, on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health.
So the defense gets a couple of takeaways down the stretch with you guys behind, and you guys weren't able to finish it off and get the points that you needed. How difficult was that to swallow?
I mean, it's pretty difficult. You know, whenever you get in that position, you expect to score, and, you know, we didn't.
It looked as though after the touchdown got it to 1, and then you got the ball back. The emotions and the momentum on the sideline and even in the huddle, it looked like you guys were all fighting as hard as you could, and you really had the energy going. But again, the momentum kind of died.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think once we got that last turnover, whenever we were down 1 score, we had all the momentum and definitely felt like we were going to go down and score, and you know, just didn't execute enough.
How tricky were the conditions today in terms of how it might play with the ball or might play with some of the passes?
I mean, they were definitely the deeper balls were definitely a little bit tricky. Just, you know, it would get caught in the wind a little bit, but at the end of the day, we still got to catch the football.
You know, we talked about trying to finish strong with this team and again, coming up short. I don't know how you digest it. I don't know how you continue to go week to week, but is there a message you can give to some of the other players?
Man, just keep going. We got 3 games left, and let's win these last 3.
As Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson with our Paul Dottino. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Madelyn, Burke, and the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara here. We heard him talking about the conditions out there. I got to say, Wan'Dale was locked in. He was out there pregame warming up with his shirt off, so he was ready for the cold. 54 yards and a touchdown on 5 catches for the day. But when it is this cold, Shaun, and you and I are standing here trying not to go completely numb, how does that affect the way the ball feels, especially when you're catching it?
Yeah, that ball definitely gets hard. It gets slick, too. When it's cold weather like that, you're dealing with the wind. The wind can kind of make the ball move a little bit. These end zones, they're different. You go down on one end zone and the wind is swirling. The other side, it's dead. So it's not a constant wind. So that changes it a little bit too. I think as a receiver as well, when it's a windy day and it's a cold day, sometimes you kind of want to catch the ball with your body. So you want the ball to kind of come in so you can corral it, because sometimes you don't trust the hands and the wind as well when it moves like that. So it definitely makes it challenging. I was a little surprised. I was surprised that they threw the ball as much as they did, and part of it was because that's what the game dictated.
Yeah.
They were down early, but. Yeah, normally a day like this is an O-lineman's dream. Like we're gonna tote the rock 45 times and ground and pound. But I think Jackson Dart did a nice job with the different types of throws. There was a couple times he cut through the wind, and there was a couple times he kind of floated up there and let his receivers run under it. But I think Wan'Dale Robinson, look, he's just showing like he's an easy guy to root for.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time that Jackson Dart calls on him, he shows up, and he's where he needs to be every single time. And he's Mr. Consistency. So I think quarterbacks love that.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would be out there with my shirt off. We may have to question his judgment.
We all lock in mentally in a different way. You talk about the wind, you can see right behind us on the goalpost. These flags aren't even really moving that much, but if you look on the other side of the field, just across
dancing.
the way, they're dancing.
Yeah.
So that's just the way that the stadium is built and the different sides and elements that are going on over here. You talk about the passing game, how much it was going, especially late in the game as the Giants are trying to come back. Another player who was vital in that one, Daniel Bellinger, got going late. Let's send him down to the locker room and hear what he has to say.
Daniel, offensively, it looked like the wind had a big impact on the game today. Sometimes it was nasty. It certainly affected the kicking game. How did it affect the passing game?
When you're northeast and you have the weather like this, it's going to be a problem. We knew coming in, obviously snow and wind in the morning. We had to overcome that with the run game and be more physical on the ground. I think at times we did that, but obviously not enough to get the win.
How disappointing is it that your defense comes up with the 2 takeaways there down the stretch, gives you a chance to make the comeback, but you can't do it?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think we're all frustrated on every level. Players, coaches. I think we're frustrated with not being able to score there, we just got to be better.
We talk about your versatility all the time, and today there was one stretch. You caught 3 passes in a row. Then you made a key block on the touchdown. That doesn't make you feel good.
Yeah. Of course, that makes me individually feel good, but, when you don't come away with a win, it's not good enough.
And thoughts on how Jackson handled the weather and the difficulties today trying to come back from behind again?
Yeah, he's a stud. He's a tough kid, and we love him. We support him. He's going to keep running the ball hard, and we got to keep trying to protect him.
Thanks for your time, Ian.
Thank you.
The sound from Daniel Bellinger is brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Giants. Get 3 catches for 35 yards on the day as the Giants fall to the visiting Commanders 29-21. We're going to continue breaking this one down. Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health, continues after this break. We'll hear from the quarterback, Jackson Dart. That's next. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. The Giants falling to the visiting Commanders 29-21 is the final score. In the fourth quarter of this game, though, the Giants were trying to mount a comeback. They kept things interesting. At one point in the game, it was 1st and 4. Jackson Dart had a play in which he was taken out. He was asked about that to begin his press conference. Let's send it down to hear what the quarterback has to say.
Yeah, I don't really, the play, tried to put like a little, trick pass on it. They did a good job of covering it, so didn't want to, make a bad play worse by, forcing the ball. So just try to get back to the line of scrimmage. I'm not really sure what the reason was I had to come out of the game. It was just it was weird. I don't understand it.
Some of the other times you've come out, Jackson, they've been off of hits that were noteworthy. Like you got popped pretty good, and you come off the sideline, and you come back in. Was this the first one that even you were kind of surprised they were asking you to come out?
This definitely wasn't the first time that I've been surprised that I've had to come out, but I was definitely surprised. Just didn't feel like it was that big of a hit at all. Obviously, just like the situation that we were in too. First and goal on the 2. That's a big thing that happens in a game. So I was definitely surprised.
On the interception, was the route to stay to the outside? Because your ball went inside, you got the receiver got cut off out there. Can you just walk us through what you saw in that play there?
Yeah, me and Jalen just weren't on the same page. So, we got to get that corrected by reps, and, we will.
When you're taken out of the game, sometimes does it feel like they're almost watching you extra close for whatever reason?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't just see people getting taken out of the game like that. So I definitely feel like there's a sensitivity for some reason.
You think it might be related to the fact that they let you go back in Chicago and they're overcorrecting?
I'm not sure, for the reason. I think that'll just be something that hopefully can get communicated. I'm not really sure, to be honest, why that happened.
Why do you think you guys...
What do you do about that? What can you do about that? Is there anything?
I mean, I don't know.
Steps you could do to change that narrative or change that perception? Or?
Maybe just run the other way. I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Could you talk about the last possession where you could have tied the game?
Yeah, I take accountability for this one. I didn't play well enough today for this team to win, so I got to be better, especially in that situation. And I didn't play good enough for our team today.
On that pass to Slayton, was it intended for you to loft it, or when you think about it in hindsight, you should have thrown the ball a little differently on that route?
Yeah, definitely just didn't put a good enough throw on it. That wasn't like the play that was designed. It was a communication that me and him had in the huddle, just to route off, an adjustment that we ran a few times during the game. So, that's definitely one you want back.
Jackson, on the seems like the empty possessions when they start mounting, it looks like it creates a little bit more frustration, more pressure for you guys to actually get things done. Do you feel that when you guys go as a unit to the sideline? Are you trying to work through that, or is it a clean slate every time you get out there on the field?
Well, I think you're definitely frustrated, when you come up empty-handed, especially, how we started off the game. You can't play like that as an offense. So, there's definitely, guys were trying to be positive, but there's also frustration too. And I felt like we played better in the second half, but, for us to be the team that we want to, we can't play like that, in the first half.
What do you think changed in the second half? Because obviously that first half just ended as almost as bad as it could have gone. But what changed, you think, starting the second half the way you guys did?
I felt like there were just, some weird things that happened in the first half where it could have gone a completely different way on some of the conversions and whatnot. But, that's just football, so you kind of have to battle through those things. Just felt like we executed, better in the second half, played faster. But it was just a little bit more decisive on decisions. And, I feel like that was kind of the reason for why we played better in the second half.
That sound from Giants quarterback Jackson Dart, brought to you by Ford, as we take a look at a quarterback comparison on the day. Dart and Mariota. Dart completing 55.6% of his passes for 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also added 63 yards on the ground with his legs as the Giants fell to the Commanders. 29-21 is the final score. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Shaun, we heard about, Dart finishing his press conference talking about the difference between that first and second half. Earlier in the season, the Giants offense was really getting going in the first half, scoring on opening drives. Today, that was not the case. They had a slow start to this game. I know a lot has been made about, there's not really much time for halftime adjustments, but what did look different about this team in the second half to you?
Well, look, I think they definitely had some missed opportunities in that first half, and when you find yourself kind of down early, now all of a sudden you feel the pressure, and you gotta kind of play better, but you gotta perform, and I think the execution was a little bit better. I'll say this: look, Jackson Dart completing 55% of his passes in this win. It's remarkable. It's remarkable how he was able to throw the ball given the conditions today, and I thought he threw a ton of great touch passes. Mm-hmm. He should have had another touchdown too. The throw to Darius Slayton. I know they asked him about it, like, should you have made a different throw? Should you have put the ball on him? Look, it gave his receiver a chance to make a catch, and he didn't come down with it, so he should have had 3 touchdowns today. But I also think, like, when you look at the offensive line did a good job today. Like, there were a number of times where he stood back there and he had all day to throw that football. The 4th down play, like, he was back there hanging, just kind of waiting. So I think they're doing a great job of giving him time. But look, he has shown every single time somebody talks about Jack Star, they just talk about what a competitor he is.
Yeah.
And look, he showed that. And I think that's the edge that he has, that he brings to this team. And I think it's good for the team. It's good for the offense. It gives him confidence. But when he gets on a roll and he gets in a rhythm, he's a dangerous player, and the fact that he can kind of hurt you with his legs too, I think that's a big part of his game and who he is. And I think that these type of games, even though they didn't win today, these are things that will build in his future, and he'll win games later on in his future, in his career. Then he'll look back on it and say, you know what, that's because of how I played as a rookie and things I learned from those.
Yeah, the foundational moments of the future success that we will see from the young quarterback Jackson Dart. And also, hey, that halftime adjustment wasn't just about, coming out and playing faster in the second half. It was also a little inspiring. We had a halftime game going on.
Yeah, we did.
High school kids versus local area mascots out
the Hillsboro
here.
Raiders, the youth program.
And look at this.
Who are those studs?
Gassing up the crowd before the game. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame
Big
Live.
Kareem.
Stay with us.
Big Bear.
The most important game is the next one. 3 games left on the Giants' schedule this season. The next one right back here at MetLife Stadium is the Giants hosting the Minnesota Vikings Sunday, December 21st at 1 p.m. The Vikings have Sunday Night Football Week 15 playing against the Cowboys tonight. So we're not sure what their Week 15 is going to look like today, but Giants coming off a loss to the Commanders, coming back at home, which will probably be another chilly one. Shaun, what are you looking for in this next game?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way it's going to be as cold as it is and windy as it is today. But I think when you look at what the Vikings are doing right now, look, they're struggling taking care of the football. And they have more turnovers offensive than any team in the NFL right now. So that's something the Giants can definitely capitalize on. So they're going to want to get pressure on J.J. McCarthy. And then on the other side, this Vikings defense, they have the highest blitzing defense in the league. There we see J.J. McCarthy, his stats right there. As you can see, he's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. Now, he did throw 3 touchdowns last week, so he's kind of building some confidence. But this will be a good challenge for this Giants defense as they take on J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and J.J. McCarthy in his redshirt rookie year out here kind of learning along the way as the Vikings continue to evolve as well. But we will be here after that game, as we are every week, for more Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. The Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging with us.